Well, Barry, there's a funny thing about darkness is if you continue to focus on it, it never really gets lighter. It just stays dark. I mean, there's no there's what is the purpose of staring at darkness? Does it really does it really change anything?
Hmm. There are times that you can your eyes will dilate enough that you begin to see with any opportunity, any light that might be available.
Hmm.
I do remember being on the road evangelizing many years ago, and I was told that my room was in the basement of the house, and I was warned, when you shut the door, leave the lamp on beside the bed, because if you turn the light switch off at the door, you will not find the bed.
Hmm. Well, that same
It-
thing happened at Leanne's. I was told to leave a light on, or I would run into a post, and I do remember that it hurt.
that's a hard post.
Yeah.
I remember following those instructions, and I thought, I ain't as scared of no dark. I got to tell you, when I turned that lamp off, I laid there in the bed trying to force my eyes to dilate enough that there had to be some light somewhere. There was no light,
No, no,
none.
no, no.
And it was a
Total.
smothering darkness.
Hmm.
So, in those cases where darkness is, in the spiritual sense, if darkness is prevailing and overwhelming, uh, why would you keep staring into it? I guess you could say that there's some things that there's just no redeemable value in.
Wow, you just quoted me from my previous recording with Hanok, and it's not even out on the internet. So way to go, man.
You're
Um,
welcome.
it appears, Barry, that we are living in a time, and again, I'm quoting what I just said to him in this week's Torah portion. Moshe's last stand is um, is you are to take vengeance on the Midianite. And I believe the reason for that is because of the legacy. The Father, in his grace, his mercy, did not want the last thing that Moses was remembered of was striking the rock, but rather a victory in war. What happens is we read the Torah portion. I know you've probably taught on this week with 10-minute Torah. Is that they come back and, oh, wait a minute, what about these? Why are these children here? Why are these women here? Um, and Moses has to tell them, no, you must kill every woman that has ever slept with a man, every child above a military age, or I'm kind of loosely quoting here. And in our Western mindset, it's like, well, that's not fair. But in his view of things, that's what has to be. I was just talking to Hanok about this with the innocence of Gaza. Who's innocent? If a child is old enough to see a television, they're not innocent anymore.
Not anymore.
They're not innocent. What about the gardener that was making a diagram? The housekeeper, the Arab housekeeper in a and a kibbutz that was making a diagram of the house of the community to hand over to the Hamas leadership. Are they innocent? No, no, absolutely not. So we live in a day of darkness, and the only way to overcome darkness is to turn on the lights. And I believe that what we see happening in our world today is the lights are being turned on.
Hmm.
And people are like, oh, wow, I didn't see that. I didn't know. Of course, no, because people were focusing on darkness. But now, you're trying to see something that's not there, but you turn on the light. And so the Almighty is turning on the lights right now. And the problem is that sometimes when he turns on those lights, we might find out that not only were other people in darkness, we also were in darkness to some things that we thought were light.
Right.
I think Yeshua talks about that of, if the light that's in you is really darkness, but you think it's light, is it really doing you any good?
Trying to figure what step to stand on here. I think that we are in a season of exposure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There are certain areas that we have assumed that there were redeemable qualities about.
Mm-hmm.
It's been exposed as of the last couple of days in Congress, even the Secret Service here in the United States. We thought that was a group of people who would shield to the extent of giving their lives for certain levels of elected office.
Oh yeah, anybody that's watched, Artemis Gordon and James West, that was our standard for the Secret Service.
Yeah, of course. But we have seen maybe everything isn't as we supposed. It's still being investigated.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking just a little while ago about a guy's testimony. I heard a little blurb of from yesterday, and he was, the leadership's just been given vague answers. Well, we're still investigating. I'm thinking, you don't understand. I was wondering where was the member of Congress that said this is the investigation? And sir, ma'am, you are being investigated. So we're seeing the curtains beginning to peel back, especially, obviously in politics. You can see, well, everything's not as it was promoted and everything as it was said. We're also seeing in social areas, Hollywood's been exposed over the last several years about the seedy underbelly and the gross elements that have been a part of those who have entertained us for years, and we've paid to see their movies and listen to their music only to find out I didn't know they were like that. Well, when light shines, light has a way of not only dispersing the darkness, but in the spiritual reality, Mike, it exposes where the darkness is at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeshua said in Yochanan, John chapter number 3, if I can get to it real quick, verse 19, this is the judgment that the light has come into the world himself. And men loved the darkness rather than the light, for their works were wicked. For everyone who is practicing evil matters hates the light and does not come to the light, lest his work should be exposed. But the one doing the truth comes to the light, so his works are clearly seen that they've been wrought by Elohim. So the darkness has a way of revealing who is dark. As we shine with the light of Yeshua, maybe I would say if we shine with the light of Yeshua, the darkness will criticize us and say, hey, turn the light out. We don't want you being light. We don't need your light.
Mm-hmm.
Your light is offensive to us. How dare you have light when it's time for darkness to rule and to reign. Darkness is the new world order. Darkness is the agenda of this day. Darkness will prevail because, well, it's time for the darkness. And anyone who is light, you're going to come under a series of attacks and accusations and slanders because of who you are. Yeshua plainly said, the world's going to hate you. They hated me. Mm-hmm. Why should you be surprised if the world would hate you?
Well, there's a saying that 60 is the new 40, which anybody that is over 60 knows that's not right. But, there's also in this world, to kind of sum up what you just said, that darkness is the new light.
In a manner of speaking, yes.
Now, when you get to the place that darkness is being proclaimed as the light, so in order for you to be enlightened, you must now accept what is darkness as light and the new norm.
So darkness is promoted as enlightenment.
Right. Interesting enough that the word light is in enlightenment. So darkness is being promoted as the new enlightenment. And so when you do not accept that darkness is the new light, then you're the problem. How dare you shine your light on my darkness? It's a never ending, argument here. But, this all came out, Barry, when we were talking about this opening of the Olympics. And I mean, I have to admit up front, I'm not a fan, never have been. I'm not into sports much. So, this, I didn't see the opening event because I wasn't going to watch it anyway. But then it is propagated all over Facebook. And what happened after that was what was intriguing to me is that social media, when you're using darkness to expose darkness, you maybe you got a problem to begin with. All right. Posting a conspiracy theory on a conspiracy theory, maybe that's not going to go well. So they posted this thing, this drag queen deal. And then what happened is the firestorm that I don't follow it much, but I found it just fascinating, is that, of course, at first it was, well, this was Da Vinci's The Last Supper. And so they're mocking the righteousness of the Last Supper of Da Vinci. But then no. It didn't have anything to do with that. It had to do with the Greek Roman whatever it is, because I'm not studying this stuff, so I could care less and don't want to know. It wasn't.
The table of Bacchus. It was
the table of Bacchus. Okay, yeah. So you're smarter in that stuff than I am, and I'm just going to let you be. Okay. we were coming on the internet, or we were coming online, and I was looking through Facebook real quick, and it's got there was a smart meter, and I just looked at it and failed. So, I'm not feeling really intelligent today anyway, but failing a smart meter on Facebook may be a good thing. All right, just saying. Okay. So the argument then was taking the truth of it, just confusing the whole issue. That no matter what it was, if it's the drag queen thing at the Olympics, well, it's debauchery and paganism. If it's the table of Bacchus, it's debauchery and paganism. And, if you saw that it was debauchery and paganism, that doesn't mean that you can order your Dick Tracy spy ring. Okay. You found paganism in Babylon. You found darkness in darkness. That doesn't, that doesn't mean that they're going to call you for the next spy movie because you found something that was obvious. But the truth is, and I didn't know this, Barry, that you have actually looked into what people thought was righteousness and found out that, maybe what people thought was light really had more darkness in it. So I'm just going to throw you under the bus.
Well, thank you, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to hear thud, 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 and people putting it in reverse. Thud, 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 thud again. I'm going to throw you under the bus and let you explain to us why the Da Vinci painting may not really be as much light as people thought.
Well, yeah, Da Vinci had connections to the legend of the Holy Grail, and King Arthur's court was looking for a goblet, but there's an understanding, a theory that people of that time were promoting, and that was that the Holy Grail was the womb of Mary Magdalene, who conceived a child with Messiah, and that was depicted in the Last Supper painting, where you see that Messiah, or as he is depicted, is seen as you look at the painting on the right, and it's supposed to be John to the left, but if you look real closely, John is actually a woman, very feminine features, and that there is some symbolisms going on there that I won't go into, that basically promote this theory of that day. So Da Vinci was not necessarily trying to stir up a righteous heart. I mean, obviously, they didn't sit at a table as is depicted. Why would they all sit on one side of the same table? Would they not be surrounding, whether they were seated on the floor on cushions or reclining, or how, the customs of Yeshua's day was different than the European model that is depicted, obviously.
It's obvious, Barry. They had to get on one side to get all in the same picture.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Really?
They posed for a picture, and then, someone painted it and they were done.
Yeah.
But, so people are all up in arms. Well, they're blaspheming the Last Supper. No, it would be mocking, perhaps, if it's not the table of Bacchus, then it is a mockery of a depiction.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the authentic Yeshua? No. It's an imaginative idea portrayed in a painting. So it is a mockery of Da Vinci, who himself was delving into things that we might consider darkness. Was he a genius? Absolutely. He was an incredibly, intelligent and genius man. He helped us a lot. I mean, there's a lot of discovery that he aided us with. But nevertheless, his promotion was not necessarily for the purposes of righteousness. So if we're going to find light, Mike, let's find genuine light. Where is the real light at? Even Hasatan presents himself as a messenger of light. So there is a light that is lighter than darkness, but by comparison to the genuine light of Yeshua is itself darkness. Don't get excited about the dawn or the dusk level of light. Yeshua's noonday light, and that's what we need to be looking for.
So, is the exposure of darkness in our day, how comfortable will we be when the exposure of darkness in our day also exposes our own darkness? And things that we thought were light. I mean, let's just go back 20 years, Barry. You remember that day? About, actually like 24 and a half years ago now. You're like, what are you talking about? what are you talking about? Christmas? Well, of course, Christmas is light. Well, of course, Easter is light. And I mean, you were only like, a couple of years after me. So what do you mean that what I've been celebrating as light is really darkness. So it's so easy to point out someone else's darkness, but then when our own darkness is exposed, well, we need to have a transitional period. This is something I've heard through the years. Well, I see, yes, that Scripture is very clear regarding these things, but I think that we need a transitional period. So okay, I got you with the let's go to Leviticus chapter 11. I got it. Okay, I now understand that pork, shellfish, and those things are not to be eaten, and they're not really considered food, and they're unclean, and they may actually be propagating diseases in my body. But I'm going to transition because I just bought the family pack of pork chops. And I know God would not want me to waste the money. So I'm going to, after I get done with that package, then I'll accept. No, when we see darkness as darkness is exposed, we should go, okay, I'm done. There should not be a transition period. It should be like walking into a dark room and flicking on the light. The darkness there's not like a 5-minute transition period. Probably it doesn't happen that way. It goes from dark to light, and so when we see the truth of Scripture, the same thing should happen to us.
It should. As you're describing that, I'm thinking of May of 2002. In my backyard praying, I heard God very, very clearly speak to me and say, when you come out, do not recreate what you come out of, which was an enlightening thing, if you want to use that word again. I didn't realize I was coming out of anything. Mike, what I took out of that is come completely out. Don't go to the edge of the parking lot and set up shop again. And that would have been a transition. The thing is, when I came out, I didn't know what to do next. And so it was in the searching and the asking of questions and the prayers. Out of all of that, House of David was given birth. But I didn't understand what to do. When I went to a new church congregation as their next pastor, I had a certain means of transition that we went through. First Sunday, what do you want us to do? The same thing you did last week. Who sings, whoever does the singing, do it. Just conduct service as is normal, and I'll preach at the end. But until I see the flow of things, let's not make any huge changes. You don't want to go in and just suddenly reorder everything. That's transition. When we come out of sin, we're supposed to stop. When we walk out of darkness, it takes a little while sometimes to get the darkness off of us. Our language has to change. Our perspectives have to change. Our attitudes. It's called walking in maturity and spiritual growth. But once we've come out of it, to be entertained by the things of darkness again is a trap. What does light, Rosh said, what does light have to do with darkness? What good is an idol to you any longer? Why go back to that? It's called, the pig that's been washed going back to the mud. Dogs turning to the vomit. Why do we do that? Why are we still attracted by the mysterious, by the things that challenge us? why does our flesh still rise up and seek the thrill of the moment for whatever how that is manifested? It's because as of yet we're not 100% dead to sin, and
Well,
that's
yeah.
the challenge. Darkness still, until it becomes gross. When what was seen at the opening of the Olympics, and we shouldn't be surprised. The Olympics is a celebration to the gods of Greece.
Exactly.
The Olympic sports, are they fun to watch? Yeah, it can be. It can, back in the day where there was East Germany and West Germany. For our younger folks, yeah, Germany used to be divided, and West Germany was the democracy area, and we were pulling for them against the East Germans that were communists because we had to prove that the United States was better than Russia. Har, har, har. So those were the days when the U.S. hockey team beat the Russians, and we all jumped around in the living room. See there, we did it. We did it.
No, we didn't all do that, Barry, because I didn't. Again, I don't watch. I don't care about it. It doesn't.
Well, you were watching the cooking shows, Mike, and that's all right. But we're not going to fault you for that.
Yeah, no, probably not. Probably not. But
Anyway, we are entertained by darkness still more than we realize. And
is that the verse of Yeshua said, because people love the darkness?
our old nature did love the darkness very much.
Sure.
And our old nature does rise up. And the thing is that when we return to the darkness at whatever level, well, it's not that dark. And we start justifying the level of darkness that we engage in until we realize, wait a minute, this is a sinkhole. And all of a sudden, I'm being sucked down into this thing, and I'm clamoring to get out of this and reorient my mind and my thinking and my perspective again.
So what about, is it possible that, well, the dark, I hate the darkness except for the parts of the darkness that benefit me. Okay. I gave you one. This is how we this is how we started our conversation yesterday. As I gave this to Barry. Okay, so I as well as you have seen people come into this movement, and somewhere around December 25th, they're about to go to the grandma's home and burn it to the ground because grandma has a Christmas tree.
Mm.
Okay, well, grandma was raised with Christmas. All right. Grandma doesn't know what you know right now about that. And by the way, as a lot of people have gone to their relatives and tried to, instead of, there's a way to shine light on something. When I used to teach on survival, I'm not a fan of headlights. The headlamps. Why? Because when you come up to somebody, that thing's right there in their face. All right. It's annoying. There's a way to talk with someone. It's probably better if someone's in darkness. It's probably better to start out with a candle in the room than an interrogation spotlight.
Yeah.
I'm going to make them feel a little bit better about their surroundings. So I've seen, as you have, people that have come in with the interrogation spotlight on their families, and but that same person that's going to condemn grandma eternally will happily cash grandma's check that was in the Merry Christmas card. Do you see? I'm using some extreme things because I do that. All right. I try to do things that just, rock the boat, shoot holes in it, whatever, because I'm trying to make, I want to make the point that if we're saying that we're hating darkness or desiring to hate darkness, then we must be open to hating all of it, even when the darkness benefits me.
So what I'm hearing, Mike, is
You're
that
quiet.
somebody sends you a Christmas card and they put a check in it. Don't count on it being cashed. You
Should
can
we?
give it to missions, brother.
There you go. I'll give it to missions. Should we? I mean, you know,
Well, here's I'll touch on
I
this.
guess I'm asking the question as much as I am anything. Is it? Are we still involved? If people are posting all of this stuff, I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I'm going to anyway. If people are posting and reposting and getting in these conversations with all of this stuff about this thing that happened at in the beginning of the Olympics, and by the way, I know enough about it to know this is not the first time that something like that's happened.
Yeah.
But yet 10 minutes later, you're watching the Olympics. I wish I could say I'm sorry, but I just see a little bit of hypocrisy there.
I made a vow, what now, 22 years ago, that I would never have a Christmas tree in my house again. Now, this week's Torah portion at the time of this recording is in some parts is about a vow, making a vow.
Mm-hmm.
So I have kept that promise and that vow. And I made that vow while I was still pastoring the last church that Laura and I were at.
Mm-hmm.
And I told the congregation, I will not have a Christmas tree this year or lights or any decorations. And I never will again. And I told them why. I said, if you invite Laura and I over for a meal and you have a Christmas tree, I'm not going to condemn you, because that's something you've got to deal with. There were times after that point that we had gone back to my parents' home, and mom, dad had their Christmas tree. Now, did I get down in the floor and start digging out presents from under the tree with them? No. And I told them that I wouldn't.
Yeah.
My dad is now gone, but my mom, she still celebrates Christmas. And every year she sends me something for Christmas. And at first I was infuriated. At first I was righteously indignant at it. And then I began to be softened through prayer a little bit. Not that I got softened to the place of redecorating for Christmas again and celebrating the holiday, but to understand, son, your mom loves you.
Mm-hmm.
And she's blessing you because she loves you. And if you can receive what she is intended, it's not the gift, it is the emotion and the love behind the gift that you can accept. You can bark at her and tell her, don't you ever send me a Christmas card again, and break her heart and offend her. Or you can lovingly understand where it's coming from. She sends you money and you want to give it away to something other than yourself, fine. But I can't knock somebody over the head and then expect them to see my light.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
complicated.
It's a complicated, awkward place to be in. But I'm thinking of Rav Shaul standing at the Areopagus among pagans who worship a variety of idols. He gave them what they could handle.
Mm-hmm.
And he left them intrigued and wanting to know more. And I think that's a good model for us to follow, rather than going in and dropping a holiday bomb in the middle of the living room like I did at Thanksgiving in 2001. that it took me years to get beyond.
Mhm.
Years. I did more. What I said was right, and my intentions were admirable. And my wife was looking at me as well as my daughters. When are you going to say it? When are you going to tell them? You can. Let's all go in the living room and draw names for Christmas. And I was like,
Yeah.
I can't do this. I don't know how I could have done anything any different, but the effects of it was not positive. Mike, there's got to be a better way of, as you said, and I like your analogy there. Blinding somebody with our light doesn't help them to see.
I guess we were blessed in this as Kathy's mom was so gracious. I don't think she ever really understood what we were doing. Her dad tried. We had some conversations, but her mom, started sending us Hanukkah cards. My mother was. She told me, she says, "I don't understand what you're doing, but I respect you." And so the first year after we were not doing Christmas, she sent me a Kwanzaa card. And, you know, and then after that would send Hanukkah cards for a while. But,
Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, it's all the same thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah, I know, I know. I'm not, Barry, I'm not trying to condemn anybody, including your mom, especially because your mom is a very dear person to me. I've only met her a couple of times, but she's just a sweet, sweet lady. But there comes a time that for each of us, and what I'm trying to do is put the focus back on ourselves individually. That if a person's going to rant and rave about the debauchery and the paganism and all of these things, it's kind of like, when you find out the person in Hollywood is a pervert and is a
Uh,
pedophile, but yet you're still going to their movies. I just see that as you know I just see that as a bit of hypocrisy.
yeah, and I get that. Maybe I could. My last thought here would be from Isaiah 60 that says that we are to arise and shine, for your light has come.
Hmm.
And it's not that we have a self generating light. It says that the light of Yeshua, the esteem and glory of Yahweh, has come upon you.
Yeah.
A couple thoughts there. He said, you rise up. The glory is on you. But to me, that's the basis of Yeshua saying, don't hide your light.
Exactly.
Be light. Don't be blinding light. Be noticeable light. Be beneficial light. Be light that is contrasting the darkness that is around you.
Yeah.
Shine in such a way, as Isaiah continues, that those that are covered in the gross darkness that will be upon the earth will desire to come to what you are exhibiting
Hmm.
rather than what they are participating in.
Well, speaking of shining light on darkness, I will be with Hanok Young in Rossville, Georgia this Shabbat. We'll be going we're scheduled from 12 o'clock until 8 o'clock. And we're going to be shining the light on the darkness called Hamas, Hezbollah, the Gaza situation, what is being propagated there, and the truth about Israel. And are the Jews in Israel today perfect? No, they're not. But they are definitely fighting a battle of darkness. And I believe that we need to stand and take a very firm stand against that darkness and the media that is also trying to propagate that darkness. This presentation that Hanok is doing, I've known him for 20 years now, and I will tell you this is the best, in my opinion, the best presentation on Israel, the facts of Israel that I've ever seen him do. So if people want to tune in, we're going to be on Facebook Live, I believe, streaming on YouTube. I think Battlefield Assembly of Messiah, Rossville, Georgia, And if you missed that, but you're somewhere around Virginia, Barry, I think he's going to be with you next week.
He is Tuesday night of next week, and I think we're starting at 6:30.
Okay.
You can contact me, email, or through my video channel here, or just if you need instructions as to how, or directions as to how to get to us. Glad to have you, and we look forward to this. Spend a little time with Hanoch
There you go.
and being a blessing to him. It's important. And if you've not been able to attend, and if you had attended somewhere where Hanoch was at, and you would have blessed him in his effort to bring reunion and restoration between ourselves and our brother Yehuda, I'm sure that you can channel your funds through Mike or whatever, and we can get that to Hanoch. And when the tour industry is not necessarily at its heyday and heightened activity at the moment.
Yeah, he's worked 2 days since October 7th, I believe it is.
So Hanoch could use your support.
Yeah. And Barry, let me finish with just making a statement. I understand all too well that my statements can at times be pretty much in your face. And yeah, I know that you can. Yeah. My desire is for us to walk in conviction, to be a light that is worth someone else wanting to follow. And so, if at times that what I say is offensive, if it offends someone, my desire is not to be offensive in saying it, but I don't mind offending someone if it will help them to walk in the truth.
Understood and agreed. All right.
All
Hey,
right.
folks, thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking the video. Subscribe to Mike's YouTube channel. Subscribe to mine. We'd love to have you as subscribers. And pray that the light will overwhelm the darkness. And we'll see you again next week.
All right, Barry.
See you, brother.